Down the carpeted hallways and through the smoke-filled rooms, Lee Atwater moves among the power brokers at the highest levels of government. He's the chairman of the Republican National Committee, the chief political strategist for the Republican Party, and the senior political advisor to the President of the United States. When Lee Atwater talks, the President listens. But how can this guy be the same as this guy? There are two Lee Atwaters. No, they were not separated at birth. That happened later. First, there was this guy. Harvey Lee Atwater grew up in Columbia, South Carolina, in a neighborhood where the windows shook from the sound of Atwater's garage band playing the blues music he loved so much. Was it your dream to become a musician?
Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
Oh, yeah. That's. I must say, I was fanatical about it. I used to play the guitar. If I didn't have school on Saturday, I'd get up at 9 o'clock in the morning and play the guitar till 6, 7 o'clock at night. Love is like a game, but it's sharp like a razor blade. Love is like a game.
In those days, according to two of Atwater's lifelong friends and band members, Jackie Muckenfoos and Richard Peterson, Atwater had another love besides music, and it wasn't politics.
I think he wanted to be a professional wrestler. As a matter of fact, he still says it's the only honest game in town.
But fate had something altogether different in store. By chance, Atwater took a summer job as a college intern in Senator Strom Thurmond's office. That experience totally changed his life. When Atwater came home, he was a different person.
And he said, I don't want to end up in a Holiday Inn playing for $50 a night. I want to do this Washington thing. I think he really got into the power and how fast everybody moved.
Enter Lee Atwater, budding politician. The first order of business was to choose a political party. Initially, his reasons for becoming a Republican had nothing to do with ideology. When you decided that, you said you wanted to become a Republican and not a Democrat because the Democrats were very establishment.
Well, I've always been anti-establishment.
It's so funny that you thought that the Democrats were establishment. Don't you think?
But they were. See, in South Carolina, they controlled everything. I went to a student legislature convention in South Carolina, which was all made up of all students, delegations from different colleges, and the young Democrats were in control of the student legislature. And here these guys run around 19 years old in three-piece suits and smoking cigars, and I just said, well, if these guys are the Democrats, I'm a Republican.
Atwater found his thrill on Capitol Hill. He stopped playing the guitar and started learning the techniques of hardball Republican politics. His teacher was Strom Thurmond. From him and others, Atwater learned the art of negative campaigning, the technique of using emotional issues to make the voters pull the lever against the other candidate.
Which candidate for president gave weekend passes to first-degree murderers who were not even eligible for parole?
If there is a single issue which galvanizes Atwater's detractors, it's the Republican commercial campaign in '88. The story of the black convict who raped a white woman while on furlough from a Massachusetts prison. The Willie Horton issue, a strategy for which Atwater received equal amounts of credit and blame. Fellow Republican Newt Gingrich.
Atwater, in that sense, serves a little bit like a pulling guard in football. It's his job to hit the line and get the bruises, and it's the president's job to win the Heisman Trophy for going through the hole that Lee Atwater opened. I think they probably are both comfortable doing their jobs.
I referred to Lee Atwater, the Republican master of R&B. He couldn't teach me rhythm, but he did teach the Democrats to sing the blues, and I believe they're just starting.
Well, I'm a bad boy. I'm in Columbia town tonight.
So the boy who loved black music since he was 5 years old, who thought nothing of being the only white at black concerts, grew up to become the top gun for a conservative, mostly white political party. This man didn't necessarily concern himself with the ideological, but he demonstrated an awesome grasp of the tactical. For instance, in the 1980 South Carolina congressional race, Atwater, campaigning for Floyd Spence, defeated a Democrat named Tom Turnipseed, who accused Atwater of using telephone pollsters to spread the word that he was sympathetic to blacks. Atwater denies the charge, but it contributed to his gunslinger reputation. But then in the heat of the campaign, something else occurred, which Atwater would just as soon forget. I know that the turnip seed issue is one that you'd really like to put behind you, because people point to it as one of the Lee Atwater dirty tricks examples.
Right.
What happened?
Well, I was about 26 years old, and this fella Turnip Seed started attacking me. And so in response, I was thoughtless in my wording. I attacked him back, and
You said?
well, I said that he had been hooked up to jumper cables in reference to a bout he had had with mental illness in college, which had been made public 2 years before, so I wasn't breaking any new ground. And I apologized. I felt bad about that, and I looked back.
And yet, Atwater's no-holds-barred attitude was an effective tactical weapon. One of his mentors, South Carolina Governor Carroll Campbell, explains.
One of Lee's favorite tricks that works is to get the opposing candidate in a fight with him. And then his candidate runs right along down the little road toward election, and the other guy's slugging it out with Lee Atwater.
The Vice President of the United States. If you were running for office, how would you feel if Atwater were running your opponent's campaign?
I wouldn't run.
You spent so many years of your campaign life making other candidates believe that it was you who was up to no good, just so that they'd be on their toes, right? That you had this ruthless reputation.
Like that.
See, you got that little smile on your face, and you said, I wouldn't do anything like that. But that's the truth. You made all of these candidates, whoever they were, these opponents of yours, believe that you were just doing all kinds of bad things, just so that they'd, what's he up to now?
Let me tell you something, Connie. To me, I make no bones about who I am, and what I do. And I think that's one of the things that always has, quote, haunted me. Very few people in politics are like that. I just don't make any bones about it. If you're on the other team, I'm going to try to beat you.
Despite a tremendously successful career at doing just that, this guy found he couldn't live without this guy.
I can't get no
Atwater found his singular devotion to his career no longer brought him satisfaction. And so Chairman Atwater made room for Lightning Lee.
I tell you something, I quit playing the guitar for 15 years altogether. And I got into this real career-oriented scramble where I'd get in and work 15, 20 hours a day. And I think now, as we get toward middle age, we've generationally have reevaluated a lot of things, and I certainly have. And so I picked up a guitar again and started playing it. I think that only by contemplating and playing music do you get a certain sense of harmony and a certain sense of balance that you don't get any other way.
Do you think you were missing that harmony and balance for 15 years when you were so dedicated to your career in politics?
Yeah, I do.
Atwater found that harmony at President Bush's inaugural concert. In the last year, he had even become something of a cult figure, playing in Washington nightclubs with the likes of B.B. King, and even on
Paul, can you play?
He can groove a little bit.
He's not too bad?
Can groove a little bit.
George Bush know you're here tonight?
Does George Bush know you're here tonight?
Certainly.
Atwater's political celebrity gained him a musical celebrity he never would have achieved had he followed a career in music. He almost certainly would never have been able to play blues with a man like B.B. King. But politics opened some unlikely doors for Atwater. For instance, he collaborated with King on a just-released rhythm and blues album called Red, Hot, and Blue. The proceeds will be donated to anti-drug programs. But considering some of the incidents that dot Atwater's career, some may wonder how black musicians can play with him.
To me, regardless of what a person may do for a living, if he played blues, he's my man. I like him.
very, very lucky man, because in my whole life, I've had only three. My family, my politics, and my music. And tonight, for the first time ever in my life, my three idols from my three loves are all here under one roof.
Namely, George Bush, B.B. King, and Sally Atwater, his wife. And it was just at this time in his life, at the moment Atwater had achieved all his dreams, that he learned he had a brain tumor. Initially, the shock of it caused him to reevaluate his life. Last week we called to find out if he had any change of heart. But Lee said he wanted to stand by what he had already told us.
I hadn't changed a bit, Connie. I'm the same guy I was the day I walked into politics. I'll be the same guy I am the day I walk out of it. I'm a very lucky man. I'm doing what I want on my own terms. I'm my own boss. I'm proud of who I am and what I am, and I don't disavow anything I've ever done. And a lot of people don't like that, particularly a lot of people in politics. So people say, well, look at this image of Atwater. There's no image. I'm real. I'm absolutely real.